What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zcash today. It is the 26th day of November, and here we are sitting at about $516 with 7 hours and 20 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, my friends. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? Here we are, consolidating, doing our thing, kind of looking like we want to move lower. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical of the lower end, though, because I would imagine there's a tremendous amount of people who have either sold or panic sold Zcash over the past week, anxious to see if it goes back up. And if it does, I would assume the same people that might have sold up here or even down here would be the same people who would buy as soon as we see new relative highs. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is while there is a lot of liquidity that is ready to dump at any moment when we get the first whiff that this party train is over, there's also a massive amount of liquidity that's itching to FOMO in as soon as there's a signal that this thing will go higher. And what better of a way to trap people than to get just a slightly higher price? We stop right up there, it's a slightly higher high, and then we dump down. Wouldn't that be perfect? I think it would be perfect. Who cares what I think, though? Right? You did have bearish divergence here at the top on the daily RSI. Now you have hidden bullish divergence, though, right? Anybody and everybody who is screaming bearish divergence, this is the top, we're going down for sure, those same people, if they're not addressing the hidden bullish divergence where you have lower lows in the RSI, lower lows in the stochastics, lower lows in the MACD on the histogram and the oscillators, and yet you have higher lows in the price, that's hidden bullish divergence. That's a good thing. Higher lows are not a bad thing. I'm getting bored with Zcash, but I'm not what's the word, pessimistic on it. I don't think you're absolved of going higher yet. But again, this next move, the thing is, whenever people FOMO up here, they're going to expect that we're going to go on another run like this, so we're going to go all the way up to $1,400, $1,600, something like that. Oh, really? I can just buy Zcash up here and I'll be along for a ride that's going to take me up 86 to 120% while Bitcoin's being boring? Okay, sign me up. That's the thought that's going to be in people's heads. But really, we're just going to stop just above these areas. I would expect what we see is a move up with less volume. And then perhaps at the very top, maybe on that day we get a big wick. Maybe that is the most volume that we see is on that day. But if it's at the top is the most volume, I mean, look here. This was the top and that was the most volume. That's typically not a good sign, right? Typically. And here we've consolidated now since November 7th. Here we are about 20 days later, still in this range. So, but we didn't sell off. Bad sign, a lot of volume at the top, yet we haven't sold off. We've only formed good structure. We've only cooled off on our indicators. You literally have lower lows in your RSI here with higher lows in your price all the way through. I mean, this is actually very positive structure. It's like the stronger you get, the weaker your indicators get, giving you more room to run if you are to run again. I would expect that this next move up, we might not even get overbought. You might reject the overbought zone, and that might be the indication right there, is that if you reject the overbought zone, if not, maybe we see a slightly higher high. Maybe we even form our own form of bearish divergence at the top here. I don't know. There's a bunch of possible scenarios, but the stochastics are at the oversold zone. You've cooled off more than you have since August. But the last time that you were down at the oversold area was August, before all this shenanigans started. Your RSI is weaker than it's been. You've cooled off to such a degree. I can't imagine that we would just make our move down now after it's become so obvious that we're going to go down. I don't think that it's obvious at all. I think it's trickery. It's effery. It's some serious effery in the charts, making people sell at the low so that they can either FOMO back in at the high or miss this next move, which overall I think, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I've said it, I think, every day except for yesterday. I didn't make a video on Zcash, but every single day down here we've said it's a good time to buy. Do I want to buy Zcash? No, I don't want to buy Zcash, because as nice as a potential 70% move to maybe even like an 80% move sounds, as nice as that sounds, I'm not 100% confident that we get there. We are at high levels and we could crash. I could be wrong. And the degree of which we would crash from here could be substantial. We could drop below 300. We could drop below $200. It could be substantial. So would I buy here personally? No. I'd rather buy, and it's not because I don't see the potential here, and it's not because I don't believe in it. I do believe in it, but I could be wrong, and the potential for being wrong is a little bit more risky than I'm okay with. I'd rather buy Bitcoin Cash, which I think is about to rally really freaking hard. But that's, this is a Zcash video, not a Bitcoin Cash video. I'd rather buy Dash, which I also think is at a good low point. The low target we had was anywhere from $51 to $34, and I'm very convinced that we're going to see a $45 price, but maybe that was the low. I'd rather buy Dash here at $64 with the possibility of it going below $40 than buying Zcash here. Because likely Zcash, if it were to correct, the correction, even if it's quick, you likely won't see recovery. You won't see expansion for another month or two. Where Dash is, it's been consolidating. So all I'm trying to say here is, would we advocate for the buy for Zcash here? Sure. I think it's a good price to buy. Getting hung up on the details. Let's move on. If you want to catch this move, yes, it's a good time to buy. Would I buy, though, personally? No. I'd probably rather buy Bitcoin Cash than Zcash right now. Not probably, definitely. That's just my thoughts. Because the potential for Bitcoin Cash to go down is tremendously lesser, right? If both Bitcoin Cash and Zcash move down together, Zcash has more to give back, right? Bitcoin Cash is kind of at the end of its ropes. It's held up very well. It just broke out. You're back testing prior areas of resistance for support. The upside potential for Bitcoin Cash is tremendous as well, right? We're targeting this up here, which is anywhere from like $2,700 to $4,300. You're at $536, where Zcash, all we're targeting is $877 to $933, or $930, not 33. I don't know why I said 33. We get those targets from this. We look at the weekly time frame. A lot of you are probably aware of this by now, but again, when I say things, people who are new, they hear, oh, you have an $877 target. Why? Just because a fart in the wind told you? Like, I like to give sustenance. People like sustenance. Even if we talk about it every day, I don't think everybody's built for this stuff, right? I learned this at one of my jobs that I had in retail. To be good at certain things, you have to be good at repeating yourself consistently, and not just repeating yourself like to a point where it's like the first time you ever explained it. Because it might be for some people who listen, right? This might be your first time hearing that I think that Zcash is going to go to $877, $930. You might not know why. And just because the majority of you out there have watched this video or maybe heard my explanations over the past week or month as to why we're going to go, doesn't mean that everybody has. So I explain it tenaciously because we need to. And then it keeps us fresh. It keeps us aware of what's next to come. The target area for weeks now, for months now, has been $712 to $927. We've already interacted with that area. When we're in this area every single time, the first time we said advocate the sell. The second time we said we're not going to buy here. We did not advocate the buy. We advocated the buy here at the low, here at this low, here at this low, at this exact same price here. Right? It's if you want to be a part of the Zcash train, it's a good price to buy, because likely we do go to somewhere between this level here at our highs to $927. I think the place that we're going to go is kind of right there in the middle, high to low here, the 1272. Right there at $877. To me, it makes the utmost sense that after, breaking out of your last cycle's high, you would stop at the 1272 or higher. And could you go higher? Could we go all the way up to $1,400? Maybe we do. Maybe we have a larger pump than I'm giving it credit for. Maybe we do see an over 100% pump here for Zcash. Maybe we do. I think that we stop here, though. I think that we stop somewhere between 930 and 712. It's very possible that the high is already in. I don't believe it yet. We do have a double top in Zcash's weekly RSI, and this double top beforehand we expected would provide resistance and bring us down. What we didn't expect is that we'd consolidate for 2 weeks here in the red, and because of how bullish you are, you don't need to pull back that much for your RSI to cool off. What we didn't expect was that the RSI would cool off all the way right now, right? You're all the way at the oversold zone now, or at the overbought zone now. So if you close the week here, and maybe that's exactly what you do, you just move sideways for the next 4 days and 8 hours, you close the week here, you have a prime setup to bounce right off the overbought zone. In fact, I'm so confident that you're going to get this setup, I wouldn't be surprised at all if in 4 days and 8 hours from now, we're right here at $520. Mark my words, on Sunday we'll be making this video talking about Zcash. It'll be right at $520. Maybe we've moved up in the meantime or down in the meantime, and then we come back up or come back down, whatever it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're here. It's not that we're just going to move sideways, but any kind of move up or move down from here will likely regulate back to this level somewhere around here, because this is a perfect area to bounce. We'll get our slightly higher high up to this $877, $930 area, and then the weekly RSI will be down here. It'll be severe bearish divergence, and that will be the sign. What we were thinking this high would be, I think we're going to get that soon over the coming weeks and likely in December. Another theory I have about Zcash, mark my words, guys. Because first and foremost, I want to be very clear here. I want to be very, very clear. Zcash is not the end-all, be-all crypto in the markets right now. But it is the hottest crypto with the most growth since August. Everybody who's in Zcash right now, they might say they're in it for the long term, but I'm telling you, the majority of people that got in, they probably got in over the past few weeks, over the past month. This thing gives us a whiff that it's not doing what it was supposed to do anymore, that it's not moving higher, that it's going to correct, and you might correct for months. That money's going to go somewhere. And again, Zcash is not the crowning jewel of crypto, but it is the number 15. It is a $8.5 billion coin with about $1 billion in 24-hour volume. That's a lot of liquidity, guys. It's a lot of liquidity. And when this thing sells off, it's going to go somewhere. A lot of it will probably go into stable coins, but a lot of it's going to go into whatever the next Zcash is. This is my third cycle. I've seen this happen before. You get this one to pump, this miracle one to pump, and it's got a high market cap. It's a blue chip, right? Whenever Zcash starts to sell off, whenever it starts to really consolidate, that's when I bet we will see a little bit of a rumbling of an alt season. There will be various cryptos that start to pump, lower cap coins that start to pump, other coins that start to pump. And that's what I would more be thinking about now. That's why I'm saying, even though, yes, I believe you've got a nice pump coming in, you probably have like an 80% pump, 70% pump coming in for Zcash here. I would think if you think about it properly and you time it right, you put your money into coins that have yet to pump at this magnitude but are maybe set up for it, like Bitcoin Cash, like Litecoin, maybe even like Stellar Lumens or HBAR. I don't know. Monero, XMR, right? Coins like that have been here for a while. I could see phenomenal growth coming into those projects just because of the exit of liquidity here. And then you have to imagine people who are selling their Zcash, because it's at such immense valuations now, and everybody got in expecting it to run higher. People selling their Zcash, they're going to look for other things, and then when those other things pump, maybe the people who wish that they bought Zcash, they didn't catch it down here. They've been thinking about buying it, but they haven't bought it down here, and man, they wish that they bought it. There's probably a lot of money on the sidelines, and we know that because there's a ton of stablecoin value in the markets right now, just free floating out there. All I'm trying to say is that Zcash, when it sells off, the money from Zcash will go into other coins, but there will also be attention on those other coins. Therefore, I think that there will be some liquidity that's sidelined in stable coins that will also flush to these coins. Does that make sense? So the thought here, it's all part of the same thought, that when Zcash consolidates, when it sells off, that liquidity is going to need to go somewhere. And it's likely going to go to the next thing that's going to pump. That next thing that's going to pump is likely going to stand out. And with that, you should have new money coming into that project, whatever it is, or projects, whatever they are, that wouldn't come into Zcash. Even if Zcash pumps here, you might not get that new liquidity in Zcash because people feel like they missed the pump already. It's too high. It's risk averse. But if you've got a coin that's like this, that's been consolidating, and it's starting to pump now, as Zcash is selling off, people connect the dots. While some people might be reluctant to invest in Zcash because it's up here, they might be more willing to invest here. So all I'm trying to say is that even though there's I hate that CoinMarketCap keeps loading. Why can't you just stay loaded? Why? I've got slow internet, man. We got the 5G experience. It's just because we live out in a rural area. Just because it's got an $8 billion market cap doesn't mean that when it sells off, some of these higher crypto projects in market cap valuation can't get pushed higher as well. In fact, I believe that a lot of them will. In fact, I believe that Zcash here, the funds will rotate into coins like Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, Dogecoin, probably Monero, Litecoin, right? Especially the ones that are below. The OG coins, Monero, Litecoin, Stellar, maybe, Hedera, maybe, Avalanche, maybe, Sweep, probably not. Maybe CRO. I don't like DOT. Stay away from DOT, guys. Maybe they're coming back. I don't know. I think they have shady practices. I don't like DOT. I don't care how good or whatever the protocol is. I'm not really seeing anything else that stands out as far as where the money might go to. I mean, between Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and Monero, there's really not any other options in my opinion. Maybe Dogecoin. But again, the idea here that I'm really trying to stress on is that if Zcash sells off $8.5 billion, it can push something with a higher market cap up. It absolutely can. Because not only will this money, the funds, the profits being taken flow into here, but there will also be new money that, again, was reluctant to put in money even if Zcash continues to pump because they missed the pump versus something that's just starting its pump they might be more willing to put their money into, like Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin. Anyways, it's a long thought process. It's a very simple thought process. I just feel like I had to explain it at extreme lengths for whatever reason. 1 hour time frame. The RSI is kind of bearish at the moment. It's neutral, to be fair. You won't get oversold, which is nice. You did get overbought. Okay, so you're definitely more bullish than bearish, but you've been spending a lot of time below the 50 instead of above the 50. So that's more bearish than bullish. I'd say neutral. Neutral is a good look, but you are bullishly postured, as is the stochastics, as is the MACD. At least on the 1 hour time frame. So $513 now. Maybe we do push up a little bit from here up to like 540, 570. I wouldn't be impressed. Again, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we were consolidating by the end of this week. We might even slip below $500 and still come back. Bullish divergence on your RSI here. You look good. I don't know, this RSI, if we're being fair, you do have lower highs. It's kind of convincing me that we actually have higher to go. So you have bullish divergence. Downtrends typically end in the oversold zone with bullish divergence, and then you break. And if we're going to break this on the 4 hour time frame, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe by the end of this week we will actually be higher, and then the weekly RSI won't get to close at the overbought zone, but it could close just above the overbought zone, whatever. Maybe we move up from here. Maybe the 4 hours RSI is telling us that we'll move up from here, and then we do get a pump, and then we do come back down here and close the week. I don't know, and it's still a higher low. Anything like that. The stochastics have bullish divergence, building bullish momentum as well. That looks good. I mean, it's hard right now to imagine any kind of downside. So let's call for some upside. I'm not expecting a breakout, so let's not call for a breakout, but let's call for some upside. I mean, we are expecting it to break out to the upside. But for the time being, should I take this fib? It's still being respected. I'm going to take this fib just because it's still being respected. But because we're so far down the line here, the rules might not apply the same, right? Typically in this situation from here, I would say, oh, we're going to stop at the golden ratio. We've already interacted with the golden ratio several times. Okay, so it's a little bit weaker. I would think here, because of that, you might actually stand a chance to push up to the 786, 886. So from here, $516. I'd like to change my call where we were expecting that you would be here by Sunday, right? You'd be right at this price. I'd like to say that perhaps by Sunday we're at $659 to $700, somewhere right there. And then getting set up for next week to be the week that we start to pump. But we'll see. Time will tell. Let me look at the weekly time frame one more time. I want to see what this RSI is like, okay? Because last week, where did it close? We closed right here. Okay, so if this week closes green, the RSI will look like it's bouncing right here. It'll be like bouncing right there, which that's good enough. That's good enough. We don't have to bounce off the overbought zone. That's still pretty low. You still cooled off a lot. From 96 all the way down to 77, that's a lot, man. That is a lot. I mean, you could bounce right there. Have we bounced there before in history? Not really, but that doesn't matter. See, like right there, bouncing off the overbought zone. That's even right here, you kind of bounced off it. That's kind of more of what I'd like to see, but who cares what I'd like to see? I would say even if this week closes green, you're still fine. You've still cooled off enough, and that's enough cooling off to that when you do move up higher, you will get that bearish divergence. Mark my words, the weekly bearish divergence will mark the top. We're also set up in a situation where the MACD can form weekly bearish divergence and the stochastics. It's going to be a very obvious top. It's going to be a very obvious top, right? For a lot of people right now, I think it might not seem obvious. Is this the top? Is this not the top? I would say I'm like 80% convinced that we do move higher. 20% chance that we go down. There's still a pretty good chance. But I'm pretty convinced we move up. And the short-term stuff, the 4 hour time frame really has me convinced. MACD, stochastics, RSI, all of it, especially the RSI though. Daily time frame, looking at this here, lower lows in the RSI. We already went over the daily time frame. That was the beginning of the video. So I don't really have anything else I want to say. Hidden bullish divergence on every indicator on your daily time frame, bullish divergence on every indicator on your 4 hour time frame. We're going to move higher. And the area that we're going to, at least the target area intended, is somewhere between about $877 to $930. Can we go higher than that? Yes, but that's not what I'm expecting. So I'm going to keep the call there. If we were to go higher, likely, if we were to go higher in the zone, the likelihood would be that we go to anywhere from $1,300 to $1,600. And that sounds exciting, doesn't it? But I don't know if it's going to be that easy. You know, like if we put this into context, it's not that it can't happen, but 40x moves don't just happen overnight for a crypto that is worth $8 billion in market cap, right? 42x moves. That's like sub $100 million market cap prices that see these kind of crazy gains in such a short time. It could happen. It's not impossible. This is crypto. And it will remind us that it's crypto if it has to. Maybe it'll do even more stuff, but I would imagine we're probably at the end of our ropes. We're seeing signs of readiness to weaken, and that gives me the expectation that this next move, while being robust, an 80% move is nothing small, will likely be the last 70% to 80% move up. That'll likely be the last move that we see before we consolidate for quite some time. And again, to complete the thought full circle, I have a theory. I've had a theory now for about a month, and probably even a little bit before then, that when Zcash starts to consolidate, that's when we'll see altcoins come to life. Damn you, CoinMarketCap. It's my internet. I shouldn't damn you, CoinMarketCap. It's the internet. But that's when we should start to see altcoins come to life. Okay? And a few of these coins coming to life could mark other coins coming to life, right? Zcash coming to life gave Dash an inclination to pump. If profits are being rotated into Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, coins like that might start to pump. Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision might pump up. Other hard forks of Bitcoin might pump. Other coins that are aiming to be peer-to-peer electronic cash might point up. If Litecoin pumps, coins that are on the Litecoin network, like Dogecoin. Dogecoin uses a lot of Litecoin's mining power to operate. Dogecoin might pump, and other coins like that, right? Just think about it in terms like that, and try to aim for the lower cap coins to maximize your gains, but aim for the coins that you have the most conviction for the long term. And for me, that's Bitcoin Cash. Anyways, I got nothing else. I'm rambling. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.